What is up, guys? I have been thinking lately about a little bit of my past and some stuff that, of course, happened in there, but also stuff that didn't happen in there. And I remember that, of course, as a child, one of my most important aspects of my life was my toys. I had a giant collection of Dragon Ball Z action figures that I had until I was 11. And one day, my mom came to my room. I said, "Hey, I know this kid who needs toys. Where I work at, there's this mother who cannot afford to give this kid any toys. How about if you spare some?" And I gave him my entire collection. And now, looking back, I have so much regret because had I kept that, I could have definitely turned that into a business and resell the mess out of those mugs. And I could be sitting very well financially right now because I know that there's a lot of people looking for the stuff that I used to own. But anyways, we're not going to discuss that. Businesswoman me at 11 was just not a thing. I thought that I would go back and share with you guys the toys that I actively remember that I wanted so badly, but I never got. And some of these I never really even wanted that badly. And a lot of it I realize is more cosplay dreams that I have more than anything. But yeah, let's get started. So first and foremost, as a kid, I was very fond of Power Rangers. I always wanted to be able to just go to some store or some pharmacy and for them to have some kind of bin with morphers that you could wear as bracelets. I was particularly obsessed with the Dino Thunder morphers when they were in their silver form and they had like a little gemstone that glows at some point. That I wanted really badly. I wanted all colors. I wanted the white one, the black stone, the red stone, the yellow stone, the blue stone, and I just wanted it just because to wear with matching outfits. Ever since I would watch that on TV, I just wanted to find the store that freaking sold that. But I discovered that nowhere had that, and I was so disappointed because if those Power Rangers were playing at the time, I would expect that that merch is easily available. Also, I wanted the Ninja Storm morphers. I used to think that they were the cutest thing ever, and they are obnoxiously big, but I really liked the female Power Ranger because her power, her element was water, and she also had like this light blue, baby blue color that I did not find obnoxious. Blue is my favorite color, but I'm particular about what shade of blue I like. I like navy and royal blue, but anything brighter than royal blue might be pushing it. But for some reason, that little blue ranger, I just loved her. I really dreamed of having that stupid morpher. And while on the note of Power Rangers, another thing that I wanted, of course, was their outfits. I particularly was fond of the Ninja Storm's uniforms. Like they used to wear that black with the lines of whatever color they were, like the light blue, the yellow, the red. Something about that stupid uniform was very appealing for me. I knew that I, for a fact, was not going to find that at a store, but I really was a fan of those little uniforms. And probably now that I'm grown, if I were to find one of those online or something, I would probably buy them. And yes, I have searched, and no, I have not found them. Maybe they are somewhere in some corner of the universe, and then I would realize that they might be like $500, and I'm like, window shopping works just fine. Thank you. And in addition, the Power Rangers SPD also had a nice uniform that I can recall. I undoubtedly would wear the mess out of the pink one, even though I don't wear pink, but I was a fan of blue, of course, but the blue uniform is tailored for a guy, but why would you not be able to tailor that uniform to fit a girl. You know what I'm saying? And of course, I like the X-Men. And one of the things that I really wanted was Cyclops glasses. Something about them. But particularly, I don't really like the retro yellow ones, or should we call them vintage because they're so old now, like from the original, I guess, comic or something. I'm not too wild about those. The ones that I really, really like are the ones that he wore for X-Men 2 United. And on the note of X2 United, I also liked their stupid uniforms, like with the little like X thing, and Wolverine's was like orangey, Jean's was reddish, some kind of like amber. I don't know, it was like a cross of amber and crimson. I'm not sure. And then Cyclops was bluish, I think. Storm's was like silver with a cape. I want them all. And I did see online the one for Jean Grey as the Phoenix, like that red outfit that she had for that Forgotten movie. But I cannot say that I would wear that. The Storm one, I did see it, but it seemed like it had too much going on with the cape. As a kid, I was wild about capes, but now that I'm grown and I'm all about practicality, I don't care for the cape. And this is the one that kept me from sleeping when I was a kid, and it was that one time I went to a store. I don't know if it was a Walgreens or if it was a Walmart. I just went somewhere, maybe Kmart, back in the day when Kmart was, an actual functioning store. They had these giant Dragon Ball Z action figures. I mean, they were giant. They were just tall. And I wanted the Vegeta one so bad because I have always been a fan of Vegeta during the Android saga, like when he has his little armor and then like his usual blue spandex stuff going on. But that style of armor and then the gloves and the boots that characterize him, I loved it. And to have an enormous version of it was just my dream come true. I wanted that and the Goku one, but of course that never happened. There came a point in which I never saw it again. And honestly, I forgot that I wanted it until somehow the memory came to me for this video. But I just remember how much I kept thinking about that thing. And I would go to that store and see it and everything, but I never got to own it. And what I did get to own was a giant version of Cyclops. And unfortunately, some 2 years ago or 3 years ago, I stepped on it by accident and I broke his arm. And I am a sad cookie now because I was holding on to that for memory's sake, but I have broken a memory now. And it doesn't really look like it can be repaired, but anyways, I'll just keep him safe. And I don't know where I put it at. Maybe it's still somewhere on the floor, but yeah, I'm pretty sad that I broke that. But at least I got to own Cyclops from the X2 era. Like, he has his little blue and black uniform that I just described. So it's not a total loss, but I remember when I got that giant toy, I used to take him with me everywhere. I used to get on the car with him, have dinner with him, shower with him. I did everything with him. Good times. Sleep with him. I would like stick him not under my pillow, but like sort of have him rest against the pillow, and then I would like roll up the sheets over to cover him up. And I'm like, I know it's hot, it's summer, you're already wearing long sleeves and long everything, but like just snuggle with me. And then of course another toy that I wanted, but it wasn't like I'm burning for it or anything. It was more of a, hey, it looks like a taste of freedom. Those little Jeeps that were big to fit a child and a child to actually steer. I wanted one of those so badly, but my mom was like, first of all, where are we going to store that? because it would have to be outside, and outside, of course, we didn't have a garage that was like sealed. We had like this big backyard, but it's not like we had a shed or anything. In my room, realistically, there was no place to put that thing. Mom would have never allowed that thing to be in like the living room or anything like that. Like, she has this living room and you're going to shove a pink Jeep in there. That wouldn't have been visually appealing. We just had no place to put it at. And on top of that, the maintenance of it, like, you had to, I don't remember really how they used to work based on the ones that I saw my neighbors have. I think they had rechargeable batteries, or you had to buy batteries on the side. I don't know. I just know that Mom said that she didn't want to have to deal with it. And now looking back, I completely understand. And what was I going to use it for? Probably like 2 weeks of hype and then all that money wasted. I don't remember their price range, but I'm sure that they were up there for their time. I don't remember driving one, but it's not really what you think it is. Like, it's designed for a child, so it's not like it has a lot of power or anything. It has the potential to hurt someone if you run the car onto them, right? But yeah, looking back, even though I wanted it, I guess I can just confess that I wanted it, but not like, wow, my childhood was over because I never got to own one of those. Nothing like that. Then I liked motorcycles. I still do. I got to own like the tiny version, action figure version, I guess, of this Navy Ninja that had golden rims, golden text. It was navy and golden. I just remember I saw it at the store and I was like, Mom, I want that toy. I need that toy. I need a motorcycle. And she got it for me. But then I saw that giant version of that figure and I wanted it so bad, but I never got to it. Looking back, as much as I like motorcycles, I have gotten to ride one like 2 times. I cannot say that I would be wild about owning one. They just seem like a hobby kind of vehicle, and I like to treat my vehicle like it's a big responsibility, because it is. And I just cannot imagine a life in which I own a motorcycle. I guess I could go for the license, but again, the appeal, it's lost its appeal. I would rather be someone's guest than actually being the owner of a motorcycle. This is probably going to be the weirdest one of them all, but one of my neighbors once had handcuffs, those little toy handcuffs. And I remember that I wanted them so bad for some reason. It wasn't even to like cuff anyone with them or cuff myself with them. I just liked the shape of handcuffs. And I think it was because at that time I used to really like police things, like cars and uniforms and everything police. I was just mesmerized by it. But I'll never forget that I had an obsession for handcuffs, and I remember seeing them at, you know, that little toy section that pharmacies had. There was this pharmacy, this one Walgreens, early 2000s, late 90s, that I vividly remember their toy section. It was lit. I got so many toys from there. And I also remember vividly that really close to those handcuffs, they had these plastic water guns that came in all kinds of colors, see-through, transparent kind of color. They had the red, purple, yellowish looking one, more like an amber color, and a green one. And I always wanted the freaking red one. It was shaped kind of like the SOCOM pistol that Solid Snake uses in like the original Metal Gear Solid. It kind of had that shape. And maybe that's why I gravitated toward it, because that was around the time that I was really into Metal Gear. So anytime I would see anything that would remind me of Metal Gear, I was like, yep, I need that. I need them in my life. I want it. Just make it happen. But I'll never forget that one time my neighbor threw those stupid handcuffs on the grass, and I was like, I'm going to go up there. I'm going to sneak in there. I'm going to grab them, snatch them, keep them all for me. And that's it. Now looking back, I just cannot understand why. Another thing that I remember I wanted so bad was the Dragon Ball Z Scouter. I wanted the green one. There was just no discussion of that. I really was obsessed with having a green one. Just a scouter. I'm like, I wish that this scouter could connect to someone else's scouter and then it would let me know where they are at. Or a scouter that's kind of like a walkie-talkie and you could be like, all right, hey man, where you at? And then you could see your pal approaching because your scouter picks up their scouter. I was thinking about Bluetooth connections way before I knew of Bluetooth. Was Bluetooth even around back then? When was Bluetooth established or created again? I have no idea, but I always had a dream of a scouter that just did that type of thing. I doubt that ever existed back then. Maybe that is something that exists now. It wouldn't surprise me. I haven't looked, but yes, I wanted the Dragon Ball Z Scouter. And I guess I forgot to mention that something else that I wanted on the note of Power Rangers. I saw this toy in person. It was, I forget the exact name of it, but the Power Rangers SPD had some kind of morpher that it had a green circle and a red X, and it was pretty much like a judgment morpher. It would determine your guilt or something, and then it would flash back and forth between those two symbols. And then if it hit a circle, I think it means that you would go to jail or something. And if it hit the red X, I think you had to be obliterated or something. I forget. I wanted that little thing because I thought that the SPD morpher itself looked cool. And I also thought that that toy itself was cool. So I definitely thought about that for a couple of months back when it was being sold, but I never got to it. Another thing that I wanted, that again, this goes more into costume territory, it was the Dragon Ball Z armor. And I know that this thing exists, for I have seen it online for sale, but I just really had a dream of just having that stupid armor. No idea why. Probably just because I admired what I saw on TV and I just wanted to look like them, even though your live action form won't look as cool as the anime version. I had a lot of issues. Of course, my last two memories that I have of toys and things that I wanted as a kid, it was of course Buzz Lightyear as we knew him in the Toy Story movies, and Woody as we knew him in the Toy Story movies. I got to play with a Buzz Lightyear that one of my neighbors had. Yeah, it was pretty like true to what we imagine the size is based on what we see in the movies. I don't remember ever seeing or playing with a Woody. It's possible that I did, but I vividly do not remember that. Maybe I saw like a commercial or something and that's what I'm remembering, but I wanted those two little action figures and I never got to them. So there you guys have it. That pretty much concludes my list of things that I remember that I wanted as a kid. It's possible that if I were to go online and research toys that were out and popular back then, something will come up, but immediately those were the things that I could think of that really were instilling a lot of anxiety in me of, oh my god, I'm a kid and I really want that, I really need that. But honestly, when it comes to physical toys like that, I feel like I may not have as many wants as I think, only because I was more into video games, and I can honestly say that I owned all of the video games that I wanted back then. Probably the only thing that makes me feel like I never owned the video games that I wanted is that the games that I wanted did not have the capacity to be what I wanted. Like, say, I always dreamed of a Dragon Ball Z game that was truly open world, truly explorable, like, say, Grand Theft Auto, Vice City, and San Andreas. Why could we not have a Dragon Ball game like that? I just could not understand. And then my cousin was like, well, it's impossible to have a game with no boundaries. You have to understand. I guess the closest thing to my dream coming true was when I heard of Dragon Ball Z Kakarot coming out. And I'm like, holy crap, that is exactly what I had been looking for in a Dragon Ball game. And it took like 2 more consoles after the one that I had and some 15 years after for us to get that. But at least we know that games have come a long way, the technology is there, and now the sad part about that is that I have lived my phase of playing video games. So that time is like gone. I wasted enough time playing video games as a kid, but I cannot think of it as a waste if I was just being a child. But now as an adult, I cannot imagine a life in which I have time for video games. Maybe the only way I could is if I got paid for that, if that became my full-time job. But even then, my interest has to come back because I try to sit down and play games for extended periods of time, and I really cannot do it. And when I do manage to, I cannot do it peacefully. Like, I always feel, oh my God, I have to be managing this. I have to be getting rest for work. I have to be cooking, eating, cleaning, just adult stuff. It's just really sad because I feel like by the time I'm 50 years old, there's going to be a whole lot more things that I would like to indulge in, but the circumstances of life are going to impede me from enjoying that. That's when I like to think critically, and that's when I say, well, you get what you get during your time, when your time is due. I gotta consider that there's been people in history who have gone through life not knowing that these things existed. We probably would have had great gamers back in like the 1800s or something, but we won't know about it because they're gone. You just have to live with that. I've been very aware of that. The stuff that my great-grandparents didn't get to, I get to. And there's no issue with that. Just get around to whatever you can. But had I thought about life like I did as a kid, I always thought I have to have time for video games no matter what. And there are adults out there that buy toys, especially for nostalgia's sake. But I'm not one of those people. Just know. Even if I had the money or the house to be able to like collect all that trash for me to keep here at home, I couldn't do it. I like to go for practical things now. All right, guys. Well, thanks so much for tuning in, and I will see you soon.